Some people love everything: a new hobby, a new skill, a new idea for a business. They jump in fast, get excited fast, and for a while, it feels like the most alive version of themselves. But years later, most of it is still unfinished. Not because they lack talent, not because they lack drive. It comes down to 8 tiny habits, so small that almost nobody notices them. And one of them, near the end of this list, is the real reason nothing ever gets fully finished. Stay for that one. It's the habit that decides whether every interest becomes a real skill or just becomes one more thing left half done. It starts the night before. Someone with a lot of interests wakes up and lets whatever idea feels loudest that morning wins. A new hobby from a video watched last night. A random idea from a conversation. Whatever is newest and shiniest gets the attention, while the older project, the one that's actually closer to being finished, gets pushed aside again. The fix is small. Before bed, decide exactly which one thing gets tomorrow's best hour. Not the newest idea, the one already in progress. Because without deciding that the night before, the newest thing always wins by default, every single time. That single decision protects the next habit, which is just as easy to lose without even noticing. The second habit is protecting the first real block of energy in the day. For someone with a lot of interests, the first hour is dangerous because it's the easiest time to fall into browsing. A new idea online, a video about a new hobby, a random tab that turns into an hour of research on something that was never even planned. The fix is simple. The first real hour of the day goes entirely to the one project already chosen the night before. No browsing, no new tabs, no checking what's trending. Just the one thing that was already picked. The third habit is having a place to catch every new idea the second it appears. Ideas show up all the time for someone with a lot of interests. In the shower, while driving, right before falling asleep. Without somewhere for these ideas to land, one of two things happens. Either the idea disappears in a few minutes, or every idea piles up in the mind at once, all shouting for attention until it feels like too much to hold. A simple notebook or notes app fixes this. Every new idea gets written down the second it shows up, not acted on right away, just placed somewhere safe to wait its turn. Once an idea has somewhere to go, it stops feeling like an emergency that has to be started today. That fixes the flood of new ideas. But even with the flood under control, there's still the question of what to actually do with the one project already chosen. And this is where most people quietly go wrong. The fourth habit is learning deeper into the one thing already started instead of sampling 10 new things at once. Watching one more video about a completely different hobby feels like learning. It isn't. It's just another way of starting something new instead of finishing something old. The fix is choosing material that helps finish the current project today, not material that opens up an 11th interest. The moment something useful is learned, it gets used immediately, the same day, if possible. Because a good idea that never gets used quietly fades within a day or two. With focus staying on one thing at a time, the next habit is about something almost nobody controls on purpose. And for someone with a lot of interests, it might matter the most of all. The fifth habit is designing the space to make starting something new a little harder and finishing something a little easier. That means clearing out whatever constantly introduces new ideas, endless scrolling, constant browsing apps built to show 10 new interesting things a minute. It also means paying attention to who's nearby, because people who constantly start new things without finishing anything make that feel normal, while people who actually finish things make finishing feel normal too. Change the space, and the pull towards starting something new gets a lot quieter on its own. But none of this means anything if there's no way to actually see whether it's working, which is exactly what the sixth habit is for. The sixth habit is tracking one very specific number, and for this kind of person, it's not how many new things get started. It's the percentage of started projects that actually get finished. Most people with a lot of interests only track how many exciting new things they've picked up, never how many they've actually completed. The fix is writing that one number down regularly, even just once a week, because seeing it in black and white does something a vague feeling never can. It turns a comfortable guess into an honest number. And comfortable guesses are exactly where most half-finished projects quietly go to die. Once that number is visible, protecting it becomes the whole game. And this is where the pull of a new interest becomes the most dangerous of all. The seventh habit is fighting for momentum. The second boredom shows up. Because for someone with a lot of interests, that boredom is always followed by the thought that there are 10 other exciting things to try instead. The gap between someone who finishes things and someone who doesn't is never one bad day. It's the day boredom shows up on one project, and instead of pushing through it, attention quietly slides to something new. And that slide repeats until the old project is forgotten completely. Protecting momentum comes down to one simple rule here. The moment boredom shows up on the current project, that is treated as a warning to stay, not a signal to leave. Everything so far makes progress possible. The last habit is the one that actually decides whether any of it turns into something real. And it's the one almost everyone with a lot of interests skips completely, because it means naming something uncomfortable on purpose. The 8th habit is deciding before starting anything exactly what done actually looks like. Without that decision made at the very start, there's no finish line anywhere in sight for someone with a lot of interests. It keeps drifting further away no matter how close things get, and because of that, nothing ever feels truly finished. So moving on to the next idea always comes with a small, nagging sense of guilt attached to it. Picture wanting to learn a new language without ever deciding what good enough means. There will always be someone more fluent, always one more word left to learn. So, the feeling of being behind never really goes away. But decide at the very start that good enough simply means holding a 5-minute conversation. And one day, the moment that happens, there's an actual line to cross. A real moment to say, it's done. This habit causes more damage than every other habit on this list combined, because it doesn't just waste time. It steals the feeling of ever finishing anything at all. And once that feeling disappears long enough, trying stops completely. Not because of a lack of ability, but because nobody keeps chasing a finish line that was never actually placed anywhere. Having too many interests was never the real problem. These 8 tiny habits were always the real problem. And every single one of them can be fixed the moment it gets named for exactly what it is.